few years ago, Judith and I participated in making a loan to a Christian school in the Dominican Republic. They've been really good about paying on that loan. We were able to give them a lower rate than what they were able to get. And so it was great. We're happy to be able to do that. But just a few days ago, I got an email saying, hey, listen, with our kids having to be away from school because of the coronavirus, a lot of them don't have access to internet. And so they're not even able to pay tuition. Some families aren't able to work. And so the school is struggling then to pay its teachers and faculty. And so they said, if we can take this payment for this quarter and put it on the end of the loan, that would be a huge help for us. And so I said no. And so before you go and leave a bunch of nasty comments on here about what a terrible person you think I am, hear me out. I'm thinking about passages where, like in Mark 12 and other places, Jesus says the number one commandment is to love God. Number two is like it, love your neighbor as yourself. And then just this weekend, Judith and I, in just kind of our regular scripture reading, we are in Deuteronomy right now. And Moses is talking about lending to others. And he says, hey, there's going to be this great year of Jubilee where all debt is canceled. He says, but don't stop loaning to people who are really in need just because that's coming up and the debt's going to be canceled. What he's talking about is being generous. And so if that's what scripture is saying, then why did I say no? Well, the reality is what we did say was, you know what, just skip the payment. Don't worry about that payment. Don't put it on the end. We don't want it. We'll get back to that when it's time and when you're capable. Because right now, honestly, we're not in need. And I think about, though, what if I was in need? What if I had lost my job, even just temporarily, because of what's going on with the coronavirus? What if my family was sick and struggling? I want people to take into account what's going on in my life and care for me in those ways. And so I want to do that for others. So am I sharing this so I can toot my own horn and say, hey, look at this great thing? No. Quite frankly, it wasn't that big of a deal for us. But what I do want to say is that we've all got these opportunities. We've got opportunities right now like we don't normally to love other people. Maybe it's financial. Maybe in a really weird thing that's going on in our world right now, it's just a matter of taking some toilet paper to somebody because you've got a little extra. Making a little bit of a sacrifice to help some other people. And I want people to know that the things that we preach here, the things that I talk about in devotionals and others on our staff do too, we believe this stuff. We want to live this stuff because when we are living out the words of Scripture, it makes a difference in our world. And that's what we want to see happening, seeing God glorified in the midst of a very odd, difficult, and truly bad situation. But I'm seeing the church do amazing things. And I want others to be expounding on what God is doing and telling the world about these great stories. Share your stories too. I'd love to hear some of those.